Hey, happy Friday. Let's get right to it. We are finishing the balcony scene today from Romeo and Juliet. As we continue, remember that Juliet was just speaking and from her balcony and just kind of speaking out, right? Romeo is down below and he's kind of hidden in the orchard. She doesn't know that he's there. She doesn't know that she's listening to him, or that he is listening to her, excuse me, while she talks about how much she loves him and wishes that he would change his name and all of that good stuff. So as we continue here on page 39 in your textbook, she just said, Romeo, doff thy name, take off your name. And then as a trade for your name, which isn't really part of you anyway, take all of myself. And this is where you can see it on the screen here. He says, I take thee at thy word. This is where Romeo can't handle it anymore. And so he reveals himself. He comes out from the trees and speaks directly to her up in the balcony. So as we continue here, listen in, and we will continue talking about their conversation. This is, like we said before, perhaps the most famous scene in the play, one of the most famous scenes out of all of Shakespeare's stuff, all of his work. And so we're going to finish it today and go off into the weekend. So here we go.
Take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou, that thus be screened in night, so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
Oh, my ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings do I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do that dares love attempt, therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
All right. So Juliet asks him, how did you get here and why? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb. And if any of my family members find you, you're a Montague, they'll kill you for trespassing here. And I love Romeo's response, with love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, right? How did you get here? I flew on the wings of love, of course. And Juliet says, dude, if they see you, they will kill you, right? She tries to make it really clear. And as Romeo will say here at the top of this page that it just flipped to, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. So therefore, Romeo is saying, your opinion is what matters to me. Your eye, your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions, how you feel about me, that's more important / dangerous to me than 20 of your kinsmen who want to kill me. As we continue, Romeo and Juliet go back and forth a little bit more, with her being concerned and him saying, no, it's because love, right? And then Juliet has a major speech coming up here very soon. So we'll talk about that when we get there. But first, let's finish this piece of the conversation.
Black, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued wanting of thy love.
By whose direction foundst thou out this place?
By love, that first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the furthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
All right, so the first thing is sometimes people get thrown off by the word pilot. Yes, this was written 400 years, 300, 400 years before airplanes were a thing. But the word pilot existed first. But he's talking about sailing a ship. He's not talking about flying a plane. If you were as far as the farthest shore on the other side of the farthest ocean, I would make that adventure. I would go to find you there. Aw. So Juliet now, she's going to begin this long speech. It's about 20 lines. And as she goes through it, she basically, there are several elements here that I think are worth discussing. The first thing at the top is she talks about how she's blushing. He can't tell, it's dark, but she's blushing because he heard her innermost thoughts. He heard what she said. And as we continue here, I'm going to say the first part, then we'll listen to it, and then I'll fill in a couple or I'll say the second one, then we'll fill in. So that's like the first thing. Then on line 90 in your book, not in the video, in line 90 in your book, she says, "Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou may prove false. Do you really love me? I know that if I ask you, you'll say yes, and I'll believe you. But at the same time, people can't always be trusted. People might say that they love each other for whatever reason, when that may or may not really actually be true." So let's read. When we finish this section, we'll talk about Jove. We'll talk about being strange, and that'll help us unpack the rest of Juliet's speech here. Here we go.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face. Else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke. But farewell compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayst prove false. At lovers' perjuries, they say Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou think'st I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo. But else, not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond. And therefore thou mayst think my behavior light, but trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst ere I was ware my true love passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding too light to love which the dark night hath so discovered.
All right. So in the middle of that, she says, at lovers' perjuries, they say Jove laughs. Jove is Zeus, and sometimes they use it as another, like, basically a substitute for God. But as you learn about Greek mythology, you learn that Zeus is like maybe not the most faithful husband, maybe the least faithful husband. And so at lovers' perjuries, when lovers deceive each other, they say that Jove laughs because Jove, Zeus, is kind of cynical about love. And so she says, gentle Romeo, if you do love, then pronounce it faithfully. Tell me the truth. Or if you think I'm too quickly won, if you think I'm too easy, then I'll say no in order to make you flirt, in order to make you pursue me, so thou wilt woo. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore you may think my behavior light. But trust me, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. So the word strange here is not being used to mean like weird or odd. It's being used to mean aloof or distant or playing hard to get. So she's basically saying, don't think I'm easy, okay? Trust me, gentlemen, I'll be more true to you than those who were smart enough to conceal their love and play the game, as the case may be, right? And so after all of this, she confesses how she really feels, And Romeo is all ready to swear his love to Juliet before she interrupts and says, please don't.
Red.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon I swear, that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
Okay, so he tries to swear by the moon and she says, please don't. Swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, the inconsistent moon. The moon changes every night, right? It has its phases. It looks different every night. It can be hidden behind the clouds, etc. So don't swear by the moon, because if you do, doesn't that mean that your love will also change every day? That's not good. That's not what you want. And then she tells him she's not ready for him to swear his love to her right now.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
With my heart's dear love.
Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning, which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night. Good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I give.
All right. So Juliet says, although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden. So Juliet is mentioning that Romeo's moving really fast here, right? We've only known each other a couple hours. This is really fast. So let's separate. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, as the saying goes. This bud of love may be a beauteous flower when next we meet. Romeo really wants to swear his love to her, but she's not quite ready. She clarifies here, as you can see, that her love for Romeo is infinite, but she wants to wait until another time. So as we continue, Juliet will give Romeo the plan for what's coming up next.
Gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? What purpose, love?
But to be frank and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu.
Nurse calls within.
Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again.
Exit.
Oh, blessed, blessed night, I am afeard, being in night. All this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
Enter Juliet above.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite. And all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Within.
Madam, I come anon. But if thou meanst not well, I do beseech thee.
Within.
Madam, by and by I come. To cease thy suit and leave me to my grief, tomorrow will I send.
So
All right. So first of all, remember that within means that the sound is coming, or the voice is coming from off stage. Okay. So when it says nurse within, madam, there's not actually somebody saying within. It just means that the nurse is saying is standing off stage, and we can hear her saying madam, trying to get Juliet's attention, right? So she tells Romeo in line 143 in your book, if thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow. Okay. So she's not going to swear her love to Romeo tonight, but if what he really wants is marriage, if he's serious, then tomorrow she's going to send somebody to him. And when that person gets to him, they will ask, then they will ask, Romeo, what do you want? Do you want to marry Juliet? And if the answer is yes, I would like to marry her, then she says, I'll lay all my fortunes at your foot. I'll follow you throughout the world. But, and that's her next bit is like broken up by the nurse saying madam a few times. But if you don't mean well, then please end your strife and leave me to my grief. Okay. If you don't actually want marriage, then please stop trying and let me be sad about the fact that you don't want to marry me. Okay. And then there's, as we finish up this scene here, there's a lot of more good love talk, more good metaphor, which is described in your footnotes, of course, as they are sad to be parting.
Thrive, my soul.
1,000 times good night.
Exit.
1,000 times the worse to want thy light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love towards school with heavy looks.
That's a great image, right? Love goes toward love. So lovers rush toward each other as schoolboys from their books. So lovers rush toward each other the same way that you folks rush out of this building at the end of the last day of school at the end of the year. But love from love towards school with heavy looks. Lovers leave each other the same way that you walk towards school. When you're tired, might not want to be here, etc. Juliet enters up above once again, and there's this metaphor, this connection that they talk about with a bird, and she wishes that she says she wishes that Romeo was no further away than a bird with a rope tied to its leg so that she could just pull him back once again, which is kind of cruel to the bird, but you get the idea. So let's continue. Let's finish scene 2. Here we go.
Retiring slowly. Re-enter Juliet above.
Hist, Romeo, hist. Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lies and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine with repetition of my Romeo's name.
It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo,
My dear,
at what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
at the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company.
And I'll still stay, to have thee still forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no farther than a wanton's bird that lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so loving, jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I, yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Exit.
Sleep. Dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest. Hence will I to my ghostly father's cell, his help to crave, and my dear hap to tell.
Exit.
All right. I think it's funny when, as we talked about, there's little differences in the text based on just it being passed down through years of editors. The voice said, hence will I to my ghostly father's cell. On the screen, it says, hence will I to my ghostly friar's close cell. And in the book, it says, hence will I to my ghostly sire's close cell. So that's another good example of those little modifications those tiny differences that have happened through the years. Good night, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. And Romeo says now he's going to go to his ghostly sire's close cell. He's not a ghost. As you can see on the screen, it says enter Friar Lawrence alone with a basket. We're about to meet Friar Lawrence for the first time here. Friar Lawrence is somebody who has a reputation as being a holy man. He works for the church. And as Romeo has grown up, Friar Lawrence has been a person who's very important to him. So since he is having this romance with Juliet, he wants to tell Friar Lawrence what's going on and also ask his advice. So that's where we'll get to on Monday as we continue with Act 2, Scene 3. I think it's also important to note that this is the end of, in the time of the story, this is the end of the first day of Romeo and Juliet, the first day of the story. So I think I'm going to do a little recap of that just to remind us what we have seen so far in the story. And that'll also be a good resource for us. So thanks for listening. Make it a great day. Embrace the weekend. And we'll look forward to talking to you next week. Take care.